From Radio City, Midtown Manhattan, third most listened to show in all of America. Hello, you sick, twisted freak. Here's the great thing. Our government is changing. Thank goodness we're finally listening to those crazy, wacky cats in France because we're about to have that socialist government, and, it's going to be sweetness. The government is changing, and I thought we'd run it. It's kind of like movie day. Remember that when you were a kid, and you're like, it's film strip day. I saw the teacher pushing the film strip machine down the hallway. It's going to be great, and so you can just kind of slough off. Teacher, bringing in a film strip today. The government and you.
And now, an educational film strip, Government and You. The government is a political body designed to keep things orderly and defend democracy. But as you're about to find out, government can do so much more. Just take a look at some of these fine examples of government work. In Boston, the government created an amazing highway tunnel under the city to help ease traffic problems in the downtown area. After finding leaks, the government acted quickly, fixing them all. Since the fix, only one time has a 3-ton concrete ceiling panel come crashing down on a passing car through the tunnel, causing a fatality. New Orleans, 2005. A deadly hurricane has hit. After hundreds of people are left to fend for themselves for a few days and end up dead, the government acts quickly to send over $50 billion to help. Never missing a chance for a fun game, the government plays hide-and-seek with over $2 billion of the relief money. No one's found it yet, but keep looking. Here is one of the government's crown jewels, the Department of Motor Vehicles. It's wildly popular with the people. Just look at these long lines. And while you're having all that fun at the DMV, just try to imagine how fun healthcare will be when it's run by the government. So now you have several concrete reasons to realize why you've always felt so patriotic on April 15th.
All right. I believe that the First and Second Amendment rights of this country are in jeopardy. I think the First Amendment right of being able to speak your mind is in trouble. I believe that the fairness doctrine is coming back. We're going to have the most politically correct administration and Congress we have ever had. Remember the words of Al Gore, the debate is over. No, it's not. What happened to global warming? That's weird, isn't it? More ice up in the glaciers up in Alaska than the previous, 10, 20 years? Looks like things are reversing itself. Looks like we've had no global warming in the last 10 years. What's up with that, huh? The debate is settled? Really? Not with Mother Nature, it ain't. That's weird. So we're entering a place where you're not going to be able to have free speech. The fairness doctrine, if you look at the polls, a lot of Americans are for that. They're not going to rise up against it. Your voice being heard in the only place in all of media where your voice can be heard every single day is going to be erased by the fairness doctrine. Okay, so they take away your voice. They call you a hate monger, a racist, or whatever it is if you speak out. Anybody who speaks out against these policies is only going to be doing it because he's black or because they're hate mongers or because, they just don't understand the new America where we all help together. They're selfish people. So then what happens to your guns? I warn you. Please do everything you can to be an agent of peace. Do everything you can to work within the system. Urge others to work within the system. It's only going to take one stupid person to take this whole... This is a house of cards. This is more and more precarious every day. The perfect storm that I have been warning for years is coming. Please be an agent of peace and calm, but know what we're up against. There is a link on my website at glennbeck.com, sponsored by the NRA, to get all of the facts. Go, please click on that. If you're not a member of the NRA, this is not a paid commercial. This is from the heart. Please join the NRA. There's very few organizations where the average person has an outlet to have their voice be heard. There is nothing more important than the Second Amendment right. It is going to come under attack, and I'm telling you, if if they take away our right to own guns or they severely restrict our right to own guns, the dream of America, the dream of not having one global government is over. And anybody who tells you, oh, yeah, well, I mean, come on. I mean, what are you going to do anyway? It's for sportsmen. It's not to protect yourself from an out-of-control government. That's the reason why it was in the Constitution. And if you don't think that a handful of citizens can fight against the United States government, you're kidding yourself. What the hell are we talking about pulling out of Iraq for? If that's not possible, why are we still, bogged down in this quagmire of a war in Afghanistan? You darn right. And that's what the Founding Fathers had in mind. And I hope to God that we never have to get there, but that's why that Second Amendment is in there. So it would protect us from a tyrant. That's why it's there. As ugly as it is, as politically incorrect as it is, as much as I hope we never, ever have to do that, that's why it was there. It's the last line of defense. Now, Barack Obama, he says that, he's fine. Let me use his own words. I'm consistently on record and will continue to be on record as opposing any concealed carry permit. Well, that's easy for you to say, Senator. That's easy for you to say until you've had your life threatened. And it's not just people like me. It's people who they can't get the police to respond because the crazy guy hasn't done anything yet. It's people who have been beaten up by their spouse. People who have risked their lives to get out of situations. And they've got somebody who says, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to kill your family. Well, until you've experienced that, Senator, and the police can't help you, or the police will tell you, well, he's got a restraining order against him. He can't get within 100 yards of you. Oh, really? Thank you very much for that. It's my right. I have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if somebody is threatening my life, I have a right to protect myself. Politicians are surrounded by Secret Service. I'm not. Are you? He said just because you have an individual right doesn't mean the state or local government can constrain the exercise of that right. In 1996, in a questionnaire for all of the candidates, he supported legislation, quote, to ban the manufacture, sale, and possession of handguns. He hasn't been challenged on this. His campaign said, we filled out the questionnaire ourselves. It had nothing to do. Unfortunately for that story, a version of the questionnaire later appeared bearing his own handwriting. But apparently somebody else has his handwriting. But the press, of course, didn't do anything about it. In 1999, Chicago Defender reported that Obama, then a state senator, proposed banning so-called junk guns, a code word for affordable handguns. Anti-gun activists call Saturday night specials until the racist origins of that term became well known. Then they stopped calling them Saturday night specials and started calling them junk guns. In 2003, he voted to limit handgun purchases to one per month. The U.S. Supreme Court, in the Heller decision, more than 300 members of Congress signed a brief urging the court to declare that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to keep and bear arms and to overturn D.C.'s handgun bill. He and his running mate, Joe Biden, refused to sign the brief. Obama says that local jurisdictions should be able to enact handgun bans and other restrictive gun laws, regardless of the Second Amendment. He says, quote, the notion that somehow local jurisdictions can't initiate gun safety laws isn't borne out by our Constitution. Obama also supports Senator Edward Kennedy. His bill to ban the manufacture of all currently existing semi-automatic handguns on the ground that they don't have firing pins and breech faces that imprint microscopic serialized characters on the fired cartridges. So you can have a 6-shot gun, but anything beyond Jed Clampett's revolver, he wants to ban.